Alright, hello guys, this is Jose from NJP Gaming. I'm bringing to you a new TCG, well not new, it's actually been out for a couple of years already, but it's new compared to older games like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! So this is one of the more recent games I've gotten into. I wanted to share with you guys because it's a game that I've grown to love, and it's a lot cheaper and easier to get into than say Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! And because of they're not really being a really detailed or a lot of restrictions or banned monsters, or in this case units, then it means that even if you buy older cards or whatnot, you can still use them, even if they might not be competitive. But if you want to play just for fun, you can get even cards from older sets and still play. And speaking of which, I actually have a card that came out back in, I believe, 2010, 2011, 2012. It's now 2017, and the card is still relevant, at least to me, and I play it in my deck all the time. And that's actually in this deck. You can actually see a picture of him on the back of my card sleeve. This is my favorite card of all time, Dragonic Overlord of the End. He's actually the star of this deck, or at least one of the stars. And I'll explain more to that as we continue and show you guys how to play the game, what the different types of units that we have are, and whatnot. Right now we have shown here a typical Vanguard field with it's a 1v1. We also have tag style, and we actually have a new format that was introduced recently in the anime, because yes, all good card games start with an anime. I'm looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! There. And that's called Relay Fight, where it's 3v3, and the mechanics are slightly different over a traditional card game. All of those things are things that we will be explaining to you guys if you guys stay tuned and subscribe to our channel. So be on the lookout for that. I'll start off by just showing you the field. The field consists of a respective damage zone for each opponent. You can see it more clearly on this play mat versus this. They're both custom mats. The only thing is this one shows you a little bit more of where the placement of the units go. You have an in-game accessible side deck, is what I like to refer to it to for those who play Yu-Gi-Oh! You have 16 cards as opposed to a 15 card side deck. I'm not sure if the ruling in Yu-Gi-Oh's changed, but if it hasn't, it's just one card more, but it's accessible in-game, and this is referred to in Vanguard as a G-Zone. So these are units that are more powerful than the normal units that are used in your deck, and they have higher attack power and other abilities that you wouldn't normally find in a normal deck. And I'll explain more about that when we get into the videos where we show you what those units are and the two exceptions that there are to that rule. So a normal deck, you start off with a starter. Normally these would be face down, just to show you how a normal fight would start. We have them placed here. You have your 50 card deck, 49 once you place your starter. So when you start the game, you should have one card here, 49 cards before you start your draw. And then you have up to 16. You don't have to play with 16, but you can play up to 16. So if you want to play just 1, 2, 3, then you can do that. If not, then you know that's your personal preference. Some decks actually don't require access to this in order for them to be really competitive. Other decks do. So we have our starter. Each person chooses a starter from their deck. Usually the starter will have some skill that would benefit their respective play styles, whether you would like to rush, control, have a large defensive hand, or whatnot. There's many different play styles in Vanguard, and usually the skills would benefit either your main unit or your deck in some way, shape, or form. So there's some decks that work off of your damage zone, which is how you win the game, and there's some decks that work off of what would essentially be in Yu-Gi-Oh! Your graveyard, what we call it the drop zone. There's some decks that require cards in there to be in order for you to resolve their effects, and then the standard rush and burn decks as well. So we have our starters. You start off with a 6-card hand, a 5-card hand. I apologize. You start off with a 5-card hand. Now you are allowed to mulligan. A mulligan is basically a redraw. You can redraw any number of cards from your hand. Up to your entire hand, put in your deck shuffle, and then redraw. The reason they do that is because you have a main unit, which is in the center, and then you have supporting units. Your supporting units go around your unit, and it's 5 total. All right, and you have they usually have skills that benefit either your play style or your main unit in some way, shape, or form. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, you can call as many as you want from your hand in one turn. So if I wanted and I had the capacity to do so, I can call all 5, and I can attack with all 5. One thing to note though, you can only deal damage to your main unit. You can't deal damage to the units that are supporting, both on the front, and you can only attack the units in the front. So that's one thing to note. And yeah, so I don't want to get too in depth because we are going to be giving you a proper video. But aside from that, components of the deck, which I'll go over so that you guys have some idea before we actually do the videos. You have essentially 2 types of units in your deck, not including the 2 types of units you have in your G zone. You have your zeros, because you do have to level up your main unit. It goes from 0 to 3, and you do that once per turn. You have your triggers, which offer bonuses when they're checked in your trigger zone, which would normally be here. And then you have your grade 1s, your grade 2s, and then what would normally be the star of your decks, your grade 3s. And you have any combination of any number, depending on the deck, of them as you want. I find a balance to be 16, 14, 11, and 8, and that's how I balance my deck out. But different decks have different balances. For example, there's one deck that focuses on hitting for crazy, ludicrous large numbers and making it hard for your opponent to guard those numbers. That one, I have a total of 12 threes, and I have less 1s and 2s to make up for that. And the reason I have more 3s is because it gets bonuses based off of checking 3s. So, and I'll get into more of that when I show you the deck profile for that deck. But yeah, this is Cardfight Vanguard, and stay tuned for more videos on it. We have several different clans. We'll have gameplays. We'll be showing Geary how to. Yeah, we'll be showing you videos. We'll be showing Geary how to play, and you guys as well. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's it. 次の扉へこじ開けろダブルシャラライト夢ろ僕たちはつながってるんだ Next generation